Hey, welcome to the September 27th session. Oh, got it. Welcome to the September 27th session of the Boyertown School Board meeting. First, to start off, let's call to order and go to a roll call, please.
Mr. Hemingway.
Here.
Mrs. Hogan. Ms. Nyman.
Here.
Mr. Pinarello.
Here.
Mr. Updegrove.
Here.
Mr. Zawada.
Here.
Mrs. Scott.
Here.
Ms. Diroff.
Here.
Mr. Brophy.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Previous executive session announcement, there were no executive sessions. At this point, I'd like to make one quick change here. We have a, what's that?
Pledge of allegiance and momentum.
I'm sorry, yeah. Well, I'm trying to move too, I'm trying to get this real quick. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you for that. Now I can ask. I'd like to move the student spotlight and the student representative report up before the public comment section. We have a lot of people here. I'd like to let them decide if they want to stay after that, but you're always welcome, but I'd like to get that portion for you guys to come forward and be able to do it. So let's go with I'm going to move to that portion first. Thank you.
Mrs. Moore, would you please come up to the podium, and this is your cue. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited. There are so many kids here tonight. I'm like, wow, the room's full. It's all good stuff. So, good evening, and welcome to our first student spotlights of the 22-23 school year. This year, we have expanded our student spotlights to include students of all ages from all of our buildings. In addition, students are now encouraged to speak on their own behalf. Last week, I had the opportunity to meet with tonight's first two groups of students, both of whom have chosen to share on their own. Both experiences were most impressive. These kiddos are incredible. Our first two students tonight are Karen Friend and Gabby Martin, both juniors at Bash. We met via Zoom last Thursday evening. After 15 minutes, it became apparent that they did not need me at all. So I turned over hosting to Kara and left the Zoom meeting. Just like last Thursday, it's all yours.
All right, so hi everybody. Thank you for all being here to listen to us. I'm Kara Friend and I'm a junior at the high school.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm also a junior, and obviously we are here to talk to you guys about our trip this summer with Ambassadors and Sneakers. So how it started, we both got an email from our counselors informing us of the Youth Advisory Board, a youth council across Berks County. And so after being on the board for the school year, they mentioned an opportunity to travel and explore human rights. This program happened to be Ambassadors and Sneakers. From there, we looked online on the Academy's website to find more information about this amazing opportunity.
And we found out that AIS is a transatlantic program that deals with positive German-American relations. And through the website, we decided to apply and go through the application process. And after 2 to 3 weeks of anticipation, I got a text from Gabby telling me to check my email. And I looked on there, and we were both very fortunate to be selected. I remember crying. I was so excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, similar to Kara, I was actually, one of my teachers was absent, and so I was in the new auditorium, and I had gotten the email saying congratulations, and I had left the room to call my parents and cry. Okay, next one. So after deciding we would take on this new adventure, we had one 5-hour meeting with only half of Team USA in person. We were also able to see 2 of the out-of-state members via greeting videos from Iowa and Michigan, as well as a greeting video from Team Germany welcoming us from their meeting.
So much like Gabby and I, all the participants in AIS found out about this program through their youth councils. And during the trip, we had an informational youth council meeting, and that gave us not only about our communities and near us, but also in Germany and what their expectations were for their youth.
So after our first and only preparation meeting, we were put into a group chat with all the participants, and we were all ages 15 to 22. And there we were given German buddies. And so before the trip, we were able to get to know our buddies and learn about their community, how they grew up, their cultures.
And then this slide is just a few places that we went that we loved the most. And we want to go into detail about ones that really impacted us and our group as a whole.
So the city tour of Saarbrücken and all the places that we explored in Germany really moved me, especially after learning about it in history last year. So I had a sense of what to expect in Germany, but it is such a different experience being there in person than learning about it through textbooks. So I remember standing there in front of the German Bundestag, which is the government building, and wanting to cry because knowing the history, it was such an inspiring and more meaningful experience.
And then also in Germany, we took a trip to Luxembourg, and we were accompanied by a group of students, which I wrote up there. It's the START Program scholarship recipients, and they were from all over Europe. So we got to experience Luxembourg culture and also other European cultures. And these interactions were extremely eye-opening to me and allowed me to see things from others' perspectives. And then the wonderful experience of welcoming Team Germany to USA.
So one of my favorite workshops during the trip in America was meeting BCPS and learning about what their organization does with those that were incarcerated. So in fact, I'm actually in the middle of setting up a job shadow with them for my 11th grade career portfolio requirement because they had such a lasting impact on me. The workshop that we had with Community Family Life Services had a really lasting impact on the Germans as they got to learn more about the justice system through firsthand experiences as well.
And then we also traveled to DC, where we had a tour of the Capitol building. And this was very interesting to see in person, like Gabby said, not only in a history textbook, but right in front of your face. And it was such a beautiful building, and it held many historical pieces that we got to learn about. The Germans enjoyed this as well, so they got an opportunity to explore the building. And then in the realm of government, we also had the opportunity to speak with a member of the Congressional Committee and learn about more how the Congress is ran. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to point out, their script font is size 11 as opposed to mine, which is size, I still don't know how you did it. Any questions?
Let's open it up to questions for the girls.
Did you learn any of their language while you were over there?
We did, but I could not tell you a single thing, if I'm going to be honest. I remember please and thank you.
Yeah.
They all spoke English over there.
Yeah, that's all I know.
All of them. Yep. I was very fortunate for that.
Yeah. So we went to Saarbrücken, Berlin, and then we took a day trip to Luxembourg, which is its own country. It borders France and Germany. I don't know. That's pretty
That was
much,
it, yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
We only got to pick a few, but we have
Yeah.
a bunch. Yeah, for sure.
It was hard to choose.
Yeah.
What do you want to most go back and see? What did you miss there? You want to go back and see it or on another trip?
I think definitely like the people, like everyone part of the group, that we just all like we were all passionate about the similar topics, so we like instantly made connections and were pretty like we could have like mature discussions and everything. So definitely the people is what I miss the most.
Okay, so Oktoberfest wasn't on one of your places.
But while we were there, I went with my parents and I saw the German food. So yeah. Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank
Yeah.
you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, for spotlight number 2, I am proud to introduce 4 members of the BASH class of 2023 who have already enlisted with the PA Army National Guard. Evan Ellis, Eva Finelli, Isabel Lopez, and Mateo Smith. In addition to family members, they are joined here tonight by their recruiting officer, Sergeant Thomas Campanelli, who was with us as well. Evan enlisted in June of this year with the PA Army National Guard. Eva completed her basic training in mid-August. Isabel completed her basic training in late August, and Mateo enlisted in August of 2022. As juniors, our students can enlist with the National Guard. For Eva and Isabel, this meant they could complete their basic training during the summer between their junior and senior years of high school. That's right, Eva and Isabel have already completed their basic training. Because Evan and Mateo enlisted this summer, they will complete their basic training during the summer of 2023. I met with 3 of the students for the first time last Friday afternoon in the Bash Library. And as I typically do, I went in with a plan for tonight's presentation. And as I am quickly discovering, they know better. So the mic's all yours, Mateo.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Mateo, and I'd like to say, first of all, on behalf of all of us, it is an honor to serve for our country in the National Guard. And I'm here to tell you guys what the format is like for the National Guard. So we start when you enlist in the National Guard by doing monthly drills, one weekend out of every month. And you essentially go over essential soldier etiquette and skills that you need to know for when you lead up to basic training. I go to basic training next June, and which means I have plenty of time to prepare for that. And afterwards, we go to our job training, and I'm going to be in the military intelligence, and that's essentially which is 35 Fox, and that's essentially when you look at satellite images and tell lines of sight and just general military intelligence you need to know for the battlefield. And so some of the benefits that go along with being in the National Guard include the Montgomery GI Bill, where if you score a 50 or higher on the ASVAB, you get an extra $420 a month when you go into college as a boost to help progress your college education. Unfortunately, they don't have a bill to help with getting a 99 on the ASVAB, but maybe that's something for another day. I think that's essentially it for my part. I'm going to hand it off to Isabel, who's going to tell you about her experiences. And thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Isabel. I think my most memorable time at Basic was the room clearings. I liked it a lot because while we were trying to work together and as a team, it was a great bonding experience, and it was good to practice our communication with each other, even though it wasn't really verbal, mostly hand taps, so we had to be stealthy so the enemy didn't know we were going in the room. The fact that I know Ava she wasn't able to participate in it was kind of an eye-opener, saying how appreciated I was being able to do it, even if it was just a little bit. Other than that, I don't know. It was quite an experience. That's all. I don't know your name. She's going?
Yeah, I'll go. So for me, one of my most memorable moments at basic training was the gas chamber, which when I tell people that, it actually comes to a surprise to them, especially the people who've done it before, because they usually say they hated it and they never want to do it again. It was one of our first training events. It was in the second week, and it was kind of just funny to see everyone come out crying and spitting everywhere. I just thought it was really funny. And it was kind of the mutual suffering kind of brought everyone together, and we realized we had to put aside our differences and work together to get through everything. It kind of just helped us progress through all of basic training. They say basic training is the most fun you'll never want to have again. And while I was there, I definitely agreed with the part where I never want to have it again. But once it was over, I realized it was actually kind of fun, and I made a lot of friends, so it was really overall a great opportunity.
Hello. I am really excited to talk about the experiences I'll be getting after job training, which I get after basic training. I am going into 15 Tango, where I learn about aviation mechanics, working on helicopters, and I'm looking to find a career with Boeing, where I will be fixing and repairing helicopters, as well as possibly getting my license to be a pilot. There's a lot of experiences that come with it, and I'm overall really excited.
Just to circle back a little bit, once they're done their basic training and their jobs training, they will serve with the National Guard 1 weekend a month and then 2 weeks during the summer. Some additional perks for them, full tuition. So they are paid for their service on the weekends and during the summer. And in particular, Eva was also in junior ROTC, which means that she will come through training with advanced rank and advanced pay. So it's been kind of neat spending some time with these guys. I'm a little scared of them, a little, kind of impressed, a little scared. They talked about, one of the things that really stuck out with me is we were talking about pictures to use for tonight. And there were concerns about sharing any pictures with weapons. And while we didn't do that tonight, it really struck me that they've been weapons trained as adults already heading into their senior year of high school. So it's been great. Do you guys have any questions for these guys?
First of all, thank you for your service. I have a son-in-law that's in this National Guard now, did his 8 years, served 2 terms or 2 deployments overseas, and just finished his 3rd one through National Guard. And all I can say is the best employees I ever hired were the ones that came out of the service. They respected their jobs, they respected their friends, they appreciated everything, they were polite, and I think you can't get a better education than what you guys are doing. So I'll pray for you all, and thank you for doing what you're going to be doing.
I just want to thank you guys for your service and for your weapons training when you were going into clear rooms and stuff. Were you using simunitions or were you using a live shoot house? Just curious.
For the room clearings, we weren't using any weapons at the time.
Okay.
It was mostly just pretend.
Technique.
Yes.
So were you riding the door hinge in?
Actually, we didn't use actual buildings either. We just
Okay.
used it was like a metal structure that presented a house, but there was no windows, doors, or even walls.
Okay. Were you gassed also?
Yes, we were.
CS?
Yes.
Were you guys tased or OC'd?
Not tase, and I don't know. Is OC the one with
The
the
pepper
sight?
spray.
No,
Okay.
not that.
CS was the worst I've ever had done to me out of all those things. So you're tough girls for sure. Thanks.
I also would like to say thank you for your service on behalf of the administration. We appreciate what you're making a commitment to do. So proud of you sitting here as the superintendent. I cannot imagine how your parents are feeling sitting out there in the audience. So thank you for coming and sharing. When I pick up on these things, I automatically put Mrs. Moyer on them to find out the rest of the story. So again, we appreciate you being here and sharing your experiences. And perhaps the two of you would be able to come back next year and share what your summers are filled with. So, but thank you again. Go ahead, Mrs. Hope. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to thank you guys for your service. It's to serve one's country is the highest calling, and I have great respect for what you're doing. So thank you. Did someone say they got a 99 on the ASVAB? That is incredible. So that's incredible. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much for your service. And actually, how do your parents feel about it?
Go ahead.
I'd say they're very proud. This is one of the driving factors for me to join the military, making my family and loved one proud. So I'd like to see.
right. We have one more student spotlight if you guys want to have a seat, just for the last one, and then we'll dismiss after that. So, Mr. Stout, if you could forward for me. I would like all of you to meet Brianna Spees, a kindergartner at Washington Elementary School. Brianna is not with us this evening. Yesterday, Brianna was admitted to the hospital to prepare for her 13th round of immunotherapy for her stage 4 high-risk refractory neuroblastoma. Sounds scary, right? And yet, despite the huge diagnosis for such a small human, Jessica MacArthur, Brianna's mom, calls her 5-year-old daughter her hero every chance she gets. Brianna's journey began at the age of 4 during a routine well-check visit with her primary care physician. The doctor felt a lump in Brianna's abdomen during the exam. It turned out to be a softball-sized hard tumor. Upon discovering the mass, additional tests were performed, and doctors found bony disease in 12 parts of her body, from her skull to her legs, in addition to the mass in her belly. Since her diagnosis, Brianna has received chemotherapy, which her body does not respond to, and therefore refractory has been added to her diagnosis, stem cell collection, resection surgery, immunotherapy, MIBG therapy, and radiation. There have been hundreds of needle pokes, countless scans and organ function tests, COVID swabs, finger pokes, ER trips, and a number of setbacks. Despite all of that, she is yet to be deemed no evidence of disease. In fact, doctors report that she may never be and may live with stable disease. Her current treatment is the third cycle of immunotherapy designed to act as a bridge in treatment with hopes that she can get into a vaccine trial in New York. Unfortunately, neuroblastoma has a very high risk of relapse with a meager relapse survival rate of approximately 5%. This vaccine trial is the family's best hope of keeping her stable and relapse-free. Brianna's mom agreed to share their story with us in hopes of raising awareness for the 47 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. every day. 1 in 5 children will not survive beyond 5 years, and the funding for childhood cancer is the lowest among all types of cancers. To put it into perspective, Americans spend the same amount of money at Starbucks in 3 days that childhood cancer research receives in 365. In the past 30 years, only 3 new drugs have been FDA approved to fight childhood cancer. Brianna is only one of several children attending school in Boyertown fighting their own battles with pediatric cancer, all at different stages of their journey. On behalf of all of those families, Jessica asked that I thank the board, faculty, students, and community for their ongoing support of Brianna, other students, and students around the world who continue to fight like a bear against childhood cancer. As a final note, Brianna and her family will be joining us at a future meeting with an update. I ask that you stay tuned for more details, but I am going to share with everyone that Brianna's favorite color is pink. And so when we schedule the meeting, it is my hope that we can surprise her by all coming to the meeting in pink in support. I look forward to celebrating this superhero in person with all of you. I'd like to thank and congratulate all of tonight's student spotlights. I want to thank Mrs. Torsha for allowing me to take over student spotlights for board meetings moving forward. And I am so glad to have had the chance to watch all of you shine tonight. So congratulations to all of you.
This is the portion of the meeting where if you would like to leave, go ahead. We won't take offense. Thank you very much. Thank you again for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do.
Student representative report. We're going to move you right to the front as well. Go ahead, ladies, and welcome.
Thank you. Hello, board and community members. It's so great to be back here to see you all again. It's the start of the school year for all Boyertown students, so there's not too much to address yet, but we hope to have more information in following reports. Now I would like to give it over to our new junior representative, Lexi Vecino.
Hello. So I'm Lexi Vecino and I'm the junior representative for the 2022-2023 school year. And a little about myself is that I've been in the school district for my whole life. I've had 2 sisters graduate from Boyertown, and I am a member of the Bash Orchestra. I am very excited to have this opportunity, and I look forward to being able to work with Olivia to bring student news and events to the board meetings.
So school sports this year have started, and one of Boyertown students' favorite events is back, football. In Boyertown's first football game of the season, we won 61-0. Let's go Bears. There are plenty more football games to come, and the students are excited to see how well our team does this year.
Along with sports, the Bash Music Department is also starting the year off strong. This past Saturday, the Arlen Sailor Cavalcade took place, and this is one of the largest events the music department hosts all year, and we just want to recognize the Bash Band and Color Guard on a job well done, and they placed one of the highest out of the category. So, thank you and have a good night.
I'm going to move back up to public comments. Since we have someone signed up, I will read the regulations around it. On behalf of the school board of directors, I would welcome you to the meeting. We welcome your attendance and input from stakeholders to assist us in making recommendations and decisions related to the Boyertown Area School District. The procedures and rules for public participation are detailed in BASD Board Policy 903. The document is available on the BASD website. Participants properly registered with the board secretary will be recognized by the presiding officer. Public comment period number 1 is limited to topics of tonight's agenda. Participants must preface their comments by an announcement of their name. All statements, inquiries, or comments should be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually, administrative team members, individual school employees, or members of the public. Note that we value and will not compromise the privacy of our students and our staff. Please see us outside the realm of public meeting if you have a concern about an individual staff member or student. If your public comment includes a question, Mrs. Torsha or a member of her staff will be in contact with you to confirm your question and provide you with information. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and comment periods are limited to 30 minutes. Individuals may indicate a desire to speak a second time if there is time left in the 30-minute period. Finally, note that we do record our board and committee meetings, and we post them on the YouTube with a link to our website. We request if you do wish to take pictures or record the meeting yourself, do so in a non-disruptive and discreet manner, and use those materials respectfully and responsibly. So signed up to speak tonight is Krista Collins, please.
Oh, there we go. Can everyone hear me? So my name is Krista Collins. I'm a new resident in the area. I actually graduated from this district. One of my nephews graduated from here. So I'm really excited to be back. I do have 2 young children. They're not quite in the school yet, but I would like to be an active participant as a resident and future mom of 2 young kids. So I'm just trying to go through some of the information with the school district. I was very active in the school district that I came from. And one of the things and one of the questions that I had, sorry, I think I should have said this already, it's item 9, the finance reports. So one of the questions that I had, and maybe it's a very simple explanation, it seems that the treasurer's reports are not really posted in a timely manner to the website for transparency to the public. I had emailed the board earlier in the week or late last week, and it said that the June report would be up soon, but on the website, it's up until May and that's it. And going back and digging through some other public forums, I had seen many comments from the public asking why there were no treasurer's reports posted for, I think some people said almost as long as a year. And then there was something else posted that like 5 or 6 were being released at one time. So just in the the importance of transparency to the public. Obviously, we all work very, very hard for our money. We probably work even harder now than we have ever in our lives. So, I just want to make sure that we understand why it's taking a little bit of time to get the reports posted, why there was such a lag in the posting of the reports, and if that's something that, you guys can discuss at some point, maybe have a little bit more transparency with the public and with taxpayers and residents. I think that would be greatly appreciated. So, thank you.
Okay, now we'll move to approval of the September 13, 2022 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
Hogan moves.
Hogan moves. Updegrove second. Okay, could we take a roll call, please?
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Deeroff,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next we have the discussion information, nothing at this time. Report of the President, I have nothing at this time. Treasurer's Report, draft July 2022 and draft August 2022.
Good evening, everyone. Treasurer's Report for July and August of 2022. I'll start with a few highlights from July of 2022. For local revenue, the delinquent tax collection was approximately $87,600. For state revenue, the PDE special ed subsidy was approximately $665,000. And for federal revenue, we had a grant subsidy of approximately $856 for July. Regarding July expenditures, salaries, benefits, and professional services account for 67% of the monthly expenditures. Moving on to August, for local revenue, delinquent tax collection was approximately $119,000. Earned income tax collection was approximately $293,000. And transfer tax collection was approximately $147,500. For state revenue, we had PDE basic ed subsidy for approximately $2,307,000. The PDE Social Security subsidy was approximately $490,000. The PDE transportation subsidy was approximately $309,800. A lot of numbers. PDE pre-K subsidy was approximately $107,180. And the PDE property tax relief payment was approximately $1,076,000. Regarding August expenditures, salaries, benefits, and professional services accounted for 64% of the monthly expenditure. And this concludes the Treasurer's Report. Thank you.
Okay.
For Mrs. Denicola. On the treasurer's report, under the major function, you have regular programs, special programs, vocational programs. Is there a way we can see what's under each? There's a lot of money represented there. Can you do subcategories to those? And are salaries included in there?
Yes, and you'll see the breakdown in more detail on this third page, where the second page where it breaks it down by salaries, benefits, professional services. That's in accordance with school code. The regular programs, special programs, vocational programs, that's all in accordance with school code. School code requires us to report in that manner.
So you can't break it down if we want to see a little closer what's under each column. Then.
Well, it is broken down in both ways. You have the functions, which come to a total expense year to date of $2,042,000, and that is the same number on page 2, which breaks it down by the major categories of expenses. salaries, benefits,
Right.
professional services. The other categorical representation you see is what's spent on regular education, special education, transportation, facilities, everything that's required to be broken down by E. PDE.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll go to the secretary's report.
You need to take a.
I'm sorry, take a vote? On vote, roll call vote. I actually need a motion. First for motion.
Daroff moves.
Daroff moves. Second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Deeroff,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we move to the secretary's report.
No report this evening.
Solicitor's report.
No report.
Okay, superintendent's report.
All right. Moving to the superintendent's report under the consent agenda. This evening, we will be looking for the Board of School Directors to accept the donations of $1,000 to the Boyertown Schools Library from the Boyertown Ole retired school employees. And also be looking for a motion to accept or approve the BCTC transportation resolution as presented.
Hogan
So,
moves.
thank you.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Deeroff,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, under the superintendent's itemized report, we have the Act 57 of 2022 resolution. Act 57 of 2022 signed into law on July 11th, 2022. It requires tax collectors of local governments, real estate taxes to waive the imposition of penalties, interest, and other charges previously imposed for the late payment of real estate taxes in certain limited instances. Prior to Act 57, LTCL, Local Tax Collection Act, allowed local governments, tax collectors to impose penalties, interest, and other charges for the late payment of real estate taxes, even if the taxpayer never received the tax bill. Act 57 was intended to remedy the situation when a new property owner does not receive a real estate tax bill, presumably because the bill was sent to the prior owners, and only learns of the real estate taxes owed through a delinquency note. Act 57 requires all local governments that impose real estate taxes to adopt resolutions to require their real estate tax collectors to comply with this law. I'm looking for the Board of School Directors to approve the Act 57 of 2022 resolution as presented.
Hogan moves.
Hogan seconds.
Okay, Nyman first, Hogan second. Roll call vote, please. Questions, comments? Good.
How could this affect us as the school district?
As a school district, this will have very little effect on us. In the event that somebody has purchased property and it looks like an honest error that the title company didn't catch the taxes due and that they made every every attempt to make the payment as soon as the delinquency notice arrived, we always honor that. So this just solidifies that in the event that something like that occurs, DCED will be is charged with preparing the actual document that the homeowner would sign and submit to the school district, requesting that that delinquency be waived. I don't think it'll have much of impact at all.
Other questions? Okay, roll call vote.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Deeroff,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, I would be looking for the Board of School Directors to approve the personnel agenda items as presented.
Daroff moves.
Moves. Was it Tony? Parnell seconds. Any questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Mrs. Hogan,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Diroff,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That completes the superintendent's report.
Okay, old business, nothing at this time. We'll now go to public comment period number 2. On behalf of the school board of directors, I'd like to welcome you to this meeting. We welcome your attendance and input from stakeholders to assist us with making recommendations and decisions related to the Boyertown Area School District. This procedure and rules for public participation are detailed in BASD Board Policy 903. Document is available on the BASD website. Participants properly registered with the board secretary will be recognized by the presiding officer. Public comment period number 2 is for those persons wishing to discuss items not appearing on the evening's agenda. Participants must preface their comments by an announcement of their name. All statements, inquiries, or comments should be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually, administrative team members individually, school employees, or members of the public individually. Note that we value and will not compromise the privacy of our students and staff. Please see outside the realm of a public meeting if you have a concern about an individual staff member or student. If your public comment includes a question, Mrs. Torsha or a member of the staff will be in contact with you to confirm your question and provide you with information. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and comment periods are limited to 30 minutes. Finally, note we do record our board and committee meetings, and we post them to YouTube and a link to our website. We request if you do wish to take pictures or record the meeting yourself, do so in a non-disruptive and discreet manner and use these materials respectfully and responsibly. So, Krista Collins, please.
Hi again. You guys move through your meetings really fast. Again, my name is Krista Collins. So again, just trying to get familiar with the district, familiar with what's going on, as my kids will eventually be going here. And one of the things that I really wanted to get into and understand more is, so the ESSER funding that was accepted by pretty much every district in the country, right? I mean, because of the pandemic. There's a lot of references in the ESSER funding to SEL and social emotional learning and things like that, with promises that these things will be implemented into the district and ultimately implemented into the curriculum. And that obviously raises some questions because I did come from a school district that had a lot of this and a lot of very questionable things implemented into the district, implemented into the students' lives, and it was a lot of very biased type of stuff. So my question is, how will that eventually be implemented into the curriculum? I'm assuming there will be some curriculum discussions at some point if you haven't already had them. And again, I'm new, so if I missed things, I apologize. I'm trying to get caught up. But one of my biggest concerns is making sure that we keep parental rights and parental involvement very clear and transparent with the district and with what we may or may not want our kids to be potentially exposed to as this SEL curriculum does really come up, right? It's coming. If anybody hasn't looked outside of Berks County, it's coming. So you do have some policies that I think are great policies to start. I would like to petition the board to open these policies up for further discussion and maybe beef them up a little bit, make sure that, as a parent, as a resident, we are aware and protected. Policy 1501, review of instruction manuals with parent, guardian, and students. So this is great. We can, request literature, request documents, teaching aids, all kinds of things, because a lot of this SEL stuff doesn't really come in through the curriculum. It comes in through liberties that teachers may take in the classroom. The only problem with this policy is it only allows, according to the policy, for parents to request once a semester to review materials. And I think that
30
is not
seconds.
quite enough. So I would definitely want to open this up and look at this because I think this is a way that you can ensure parental rights, but I don't think that the policy really has enough substance to it. And also policy 105.2, exemption from instruction. The only reason you are allowed to exempt your child from instruction in this policy is due to religious exemption. But especially when you start talking SEL, you have things like moral, ethical, and philosophical reasons that you may want to exempt your child from instruction.
Time?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, but if there's nobody else, I have one other question, and I know that I'm at my 3 minutes, so you let me know if I'm allowed or not. I understand if I'm not.
There's time left in 30 minutes, so you can ask your question.
Thank you. Sorry. You're going to get to know me really well. Hopefully you're happy about it. So my question is, and this is kind of a tough one to talk about, and I know that there are students from the district, so there is a lot going on with fentanyl coming into our communities throughout the country right now. And this is something that I feel very, very important about, especially because a lot of the fentanyl that's coming in is actually disguised to look like candy. I don't know if you've been hearing about the reports of these things, but this is very serious. And this is something that I do feel that the school district, I think every district should be having like emergency assemblies about this, okay? We should be getting kids, getting parents involved, getting our police, EMT, ambulance, firefighters, people that know what's going on with stuff like this in the community. And maybe this has already happened. Again, I'm new, so if you've done this type of stuff, that's amazing and thank you. But we really need to get ahead of this. I mean, there's stuff that looks like lollipops. There's stuff that looks like Skittles. Like kids need to know that they can't even like take a Tic Tac from somebody right now, right? And maybe that's a little bit paranoid, just because I'm a parent. But I would love, if the board hasn't already discussed this, to definitely make an effort to talk about it, have assemblies, get involvement, because it's something that if it hasn't already hit this specific community, it will. I think Pennsylvania was like 4th highest on fentanyl overdoses in the country. So we are definitely not low on the list. And that's it. I'll stop talking now. Thank you very much.
Officer French, would you like to come in and share what you have been sharing at the high school at this point with respects to that?
Yes, thank you. So I teach.
Can you go to the microphone for us, please? I know this is impromptu.
There you go. All right. So yes, I teach a class that deals with not only drug use and fentanyl in particular, but also like human trafficking, because that's becoming big. So yes, we discuss this with the 9th grade health and PE class, and I teach this every year. It's a good class, and we talk about various things. But one of the things we've been hitting heavy on is the human trafficking and fentanyl, and how they can work hand in hand. So yeah, we've been addressing this now for a little over a year. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Apologies. Just a quick question, but maybe two. So you're teaching this class with the 9th graders?
Yes.
Are there any like refresher courses or assemblies for like 10th, 11th, and 12th graders?
Not at this time, because this is a new program that I just started, because I started last year. So I was asked to develop a course, and one of the topics that I felt strongly about was human trafficking and drug use. And since fentanyl is coming in droves, that was the drug that I mainly hit on. So in short, no, because this is only my 2nd year.
Sure.
But I have no problem with it. If they want me to address, the upperclassmen, absolutely. I do take the time when we, in the hallways, I'll talk to certain kids and certain groups, and they know any of them can come to me and ask me any question they want.
Okay.
And I answer it as blatantly as I can. So.
I appreciate that.
All right.
And this is you only work at the high school, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then this is not a question for you, my next question, so thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I'm sure Officer Perez covers similar things at the
Yeah.
lower and at the middle schools and the lower schools.
Yeah, I was wondering what our drug education curriculum looks like in middle and even elementary school. Just because I agree that this is a serious subject and it's something, I just read an article about a kid who took a pill from another kid, not in Boyertown, and overdosed because it was fentanyl. They thought it was something else. And I've seen the pictures of the brightly colored pills and they do look like candy, and I think it would be very easy for a kid to put that in their mouth. So yeah, I was just kind of curious.
I would not be able to tell you that Officer Perez has started any drug lessons with the elementary or middle school students, but he is always looking for things to expand upon. So we will certainly look into materials that would be appropriate for those levels and ask him to do that as part of what he's doing with the fifth grade and I'm not sure which grades he's in at the middle school. I want to say seventh grade and eighth grade. He might be in all three of them, but he is in each of the buildings and he does participate and has been doing things like, cybersecurity and, being safe on your phones, on social media. And I do know that he did pick up part of the drug part because we don't do the DARE program here with having our own school police officers. But, certainly can, look at appropriate materials to make sure that we can share. Yeah, definitely.
Great, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Ms. Nyman.
So you would be prepared to do upper class grades like 10th, 11th, 12th?
Absolutely. Give me a couple of weeks to put together a decent lesson plan, and yeah, I can do it.
I think we should be looking at some assemblies or something because it is becoming a very serious problem.
I know that Dr. Foley is listening and texting me as we speak, so he hears the requests from the board and the community. So I'm certain that it would be something that they would be able to work on. I can't tell you that it can happen within the next 2 months, as I don't know what their days and weeks are looking like, but it is certainly something that they will, begin to address.
But I think it's wonderful that Officer French is going through the halls with the kids. And hopefully the kids are expanding out and letting the other kids know that you're somebody that they can go and talk to.
Thank you. I would hope that they would. I know I do have a rapport with a lot of the kids in the building. And, I hope to keep that up, and I hope that they do feel comfortable and come and talk to me about pretty much anything. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer French.
Thank you.
Before he runs out, any other questions? Okay, you made it. Okay, we can go with board comment. We can go with board comments. Start with Mrs. Nyman.
Okay.
Yeah, after she's done.
Okay, I'm still looking to see about a presentation on our curriculum. We really, really need to get into that. I've asked before, I'm asking again. If we need to start voting on some of this stuff, maybe we need to start doing that to see if we can't push things through.
I think you're going to have to be specific about what you want to see as far as our curriculum. We do have a few agenda items coming up that we've talked to Mr. Zawada and Mr. Panarello with regards to our student intern program, which is a part of our high school curriculum, as well as we'll be reviewing the special education plan and all of the things that are going on in that area. So you're going to need to be more specific. Go ahead, Mr. Zawada.
We're planning on, in the next open meeting for a discussion period, I did send an email to a couple people asking if there was anything that they would like to have discussed, and we'd put it on the agenda, but it is planned for the next open meeting in 2-3 weeks, whenever it is. So if you have specifics, please let myself and Tony know, and we'll make sure we can figure something to make sure that it becomes open and the public hears where we're processing and heading towards.
Okay, that was one of the things. I'm still looking for our annual report for our finances. And at this time, I'm going to ask or make a motion to go through Boyertown Elementary. There's things I'm hearing that are in dire need of repair. And so I'm hoping for the safety of our students, I can get a second for that motion. And I'm hoping that this board would all agree to go into that building sometime this week after 4 o'clock and go through it room by room and see what we need to do to bring that building back to what we should be.
Hogan
And second.
seconds.
And third.
May I comment on
Sure.
that? Yeah, so I've actually heard from some people about some pretty serious, what I would deem as serious issues that can lead to health concerns. I don't really want to talk about them publicly, and some of them are security based, but they are concerning. So I think that a site visit would be helpful. And I don't know if this is a topic for executive session. I don't know if that's appropriate.
If it is purely safety related, yes.
Safety as in what, health and safety? Or safety as in building security?
Security.
Let me think about it. I'm not sure. I have to.
Let me ask a question with respect to this, because we do have a facilities department in the school district, and they're charged with the responsibility of ensuring the health and safety of not just Boyertown Elementary, for that matter, all buildings in the district. Has there been a facilities analysis or survey performed with respect to that building? Because in all due respect, even if the board identifies issues in a non-facilities perspective, ultimately the facilities department will need to address those issues and make recommendations to the board. So the question is, the question I have is, did the facilities department do any kind of analysis recently or in the not too distant future regarding Boyertown Elementary School?
I don't know if the safety committee has done an analysis of Boyertown Elementary recently. I'd have to check on that.
I know that as they go through the buildings, they are detecting things that would be unsafe from the perspective of, things that would be tripping devices, things that would be, be unhinged easily, anything that would, cause an accident. Those safety meetings are held monthly, and they do on-site building visits. I can't reflect whether or not, if we're at the end of the first month of school, full month of school, whether or not they've been out to Boyertown or when they were out last year.
And does our insurance company do any kind of analysis?
They do come out and do a risk analysis every year as part of the underwriting.
It would be purely safety then.
Right.
Trip hazards and things that would hurt.
I see.
Mrs. Darrow?
Yeah, we keep hearing comments about this and that that's wrong. Has anybody ever called the administration and told them so that it can be discussed with the facilities director? So it can be taken care of in a timely fashion instead of bringing this up all the time?
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. So one of the issues that I am being told about, and I was just told about this today by 3 different very concerned persons, and unfortunately I had quite an afternoon, so I couldn't get in touch with administration beforehand. But one of the issues is mice related, and it's been ongoing, according to these persons, for over a year, to the point where there are mice in children's desks, mice falling from the ceilings. And this is 3 independent persons. So they're not all people who even, I don't know that they even know each other. They may. But I heard this, and then I reached out to other persons to confirm that this was in fact happening. And all 3 persons independently confirmed it. So I think that's pretty serious. And I don't know about mice feces, but I certainly don't want them near my children. So that's one of the major concerns. The other concerns are more building security concerns. So I don't want to say them publicly because they're, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, no, I don't want to create a hazard for the school. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say it to you, but I mean, I'll email you.
You don't want to disclose it, so
Yes.
create an additional risk for the school.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes.
None of these things have been brought to my attention, which I'm quite surprised by either individuals that work in the building or anyone that leads the building. So I'm a bit disturbed that as a board member, you're being contacted before I am, who can, make change. So, especially upon, the concern. So I will obviously be reaching out to people immediately to, try to come to a conclusion as to what is going on exactly, and why hasn't it come to the level of myself and Ms. Denicola as the people who are responsible in making sure that these things are addressed. So
I appreciate it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'm a little disturbed, so thank you.
And I would have emailed you this afternoon, but unfortunately, I had a situation.
I guess
so.
my only question is, the people that you're talking to, have they contacted the school, their principal or anything before they
I
contacted
don't know.
you?
I didn't ask them.
That's a big question.
Well, they brought it to me, and I really wasn't even going to discuss the specifics publicly, but
It's the same thing as like the board taking a tour of the schools. We're not the ones to do that. That's actually the maintenance department, and even if we bring somebody in from the outside, the board can't make recommendations to the board as to what to fix or change in a school. Someone has to come to us with a recommendation, besides the fact that we're not facilities experts in any way. So that's probably not the way to go about it. If you want to request that there's some sort of survey or some sort of inspection of the building, that's probably something to put on the table.
I think as board members, we should be allowed to go into those buildings and
No, I
look.
didn't say we're allowed, but we're not the right ones. What's our background in this stuff? Nothing.
Along with the facilities manager. And go in and look at these things and see what's going on.
I think the facilities director is going to have to be able to go into the building and investigate himself first, because upon a conversation that we had prior to the meeting, I immediately reached out and was told that there was no information shared with him with respects to that. So I believe that, where there's an issue, that the people who are operating those buildings have an obligation of informing their higher ups. So we're not following the proper protocol, and I have never turned my head away from a security related problem, or one where we have an infestation or a potential problem of rodents within a school. So both things would be absolutely unacceptable for me, and I would not conduct my business without addressing those things first and foremost. So, and I've been in that building. Mr. Stout has been in that building, and this is a surprise to us. And as I promised all of you back in 2020, when I took this position, I wouldn't give all of you surprises, and this is a surprise tonight. So, and it's a public surprise.
So I want to make it clear that I'm not accusing administration of any kind of wrongdoing or cover up. And I understand the point of the survey analysis. I would be interested in seeing when that was last done, and is that a document that we could review? Because I want to make sure the school is up to par with our other schools.
No, I have another comment. I'm just hearing that things are Band-Aid over there. Band-Aid over Band-Aid, and it's like nothing showed up on the 5-year projection for the building of any great impact. So I'm concerned if we're Band-Aiding things. I'm concerned for the children that are in that school. So I asked for this at the last meeting, request to go through the building.
Mr. Updegrove.
You know, some of this could fall on your information coming from disgruntled parents badgering the school. Because I cannot believe that that school would have rodents running through it and having the security problems there with our leadership that we have in place. Finds it very unsettling.
I'm just disturbed that we're hearing it from board members and not from, through the proper channels. I not quite know what to make of this, to be perfectly honest with you. It should have gone through whoever the parents were that are complaining. And I'm not saying the complaints aren't rare, they possibly could be. I'm not intimidating at all. But if the principal of the school doesn't know it, or hasn't been told it, or nobody said anything to him, either him or her, either they're not listening or they've never been told, and that this type of information coming out here at this meeting is the first place it's come out, is totally unacceptable in any level, and completely outside of any protocol, any place you could go. So where it's nice to hear that people are engaged and want to be involved, that's great, but there's also a protocol or a structure to follow so we get things fixed. Calling a board member to say, hey, get this fixed is not the right answer. And that's not we shouldn't be taking that torch up and moving forward with it. It's like, who did you call? And if I'm the first person you called, that's not the right person. So my concern is that the principal's been informed of this and taken no action, which I find that hard to believe, but I won't say one way or the other. Or has nobody been told, and it's coming out here, which is not the proper place. So,
If I can make a suggestion.
yeah, please.
If I can make a suggestion, I understand, I'm not sure if there's a pending motion on the floor to do an on-site inspection or not. But what might be faster, and candidly, if I were seated in your shoes in question, I would suggest that the board request that the superintendent and the CFO of the district immediately investigate these allegations and try to get a memo or report to the board as soon as possible. And then if the board isn't satisfied with the information received, then maybe you can step up it either through an organized investigation or even ordering a third party to do an investigation and the like. Because I can tell you that trying to find evidence of an infestation might not necessarily be present at 4:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. You may not even look in the right place to observe. You may have to go into the ceiling rafters in order to address some of those issues. Having been there and done that, in facilities that I'm aware of, that my suggestion that you ask for a report from the administration immediately, because I don't know if you read the body language, but your comments have registered strongly with your administrative team. But that's up to you. I mean, if you want to have your walkthrough fine, but it's not a walkthrough that I would want to accompany you on. Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Stein.
Okay, then I'll make the motion differently, that we have, is it Scott? I can't think of his last name. Thank you. Have him go through, look at the building, look at what he thinks needs repair, and come back with some findings of what's bandaged or whatever over in that building.
Well, I need clarity. Are we looking for infestation issues, or are we looking for issues with the building maintenance? getting
I'm
confused
looking
where
at the
we're going.
maintenance.
Okay,
I'm
so-
hearing things aren't being kept up.
So we have two
And it's a
different issues.
Band-Aid over a Band-Aid over a Band-Aid.
Then you're talking about something different than Mrs. Hogan's talking about, so we have two different issues.
And then if
Is
Mrs.
that what I'm
Hogan
hearing?
wants to add that to it,
Well, it would be a different inspection.
okay. Well, mine is the maintenance of the building, because I'm hearing things that way.
Without a motion, will the superintendent be willing to volunteer doing some kind of investigation on the part of the facilities director to address maintenance and/or possible other issues raised by the board on that facility?
I'll make that motion.
Well, the
I don't think,
super-
I'm suggesting a voluntary.
The superintendent is ahead of the solicitor's recommendation.
Okay, so I can see you were writing. So in other words, the superintendent will probably, as soon as this meeting is over, going to be addressing this issue in, yes.
I have a comment to make too. Just remember that our new meaning, under a year, Scott has been in this position. So, I'm sure there's areas that he honestly is going through, and it's like, wow. But he's only been with us for a year. Let him get a chance. And on top of Ms. Torsha already taking care of this, I think and hope that you would be satisfied with that. So with that being said, would we have to retract that motion, or is that something we'd have to continue since we do have a first and a second?
Okay, the individuals who participated in that, are you agreeable to withdraw those motions?
I am.
Thank you.
Okay. Your points were heard.
Understand.
Jeff,
Okay. Mr. Zawad.
I would, these people that are hearsay, the first thing I would tell them is contact Mrs. Torsha, okay?
Or the
When-
Building principal.
Right, or the building principal. I mean, we keep saying hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. We got you're saying there's bandages. Well, let these people know where the bandages are placed so they know where to look. I mean, if you're trying to look for mice in that size building,
It's gonna be a long walk.
yeah, we're gonna have to hire a swarm of cats. Maybe get the ones from the other school district that are acting as cats and have them sit in. But this hearsay, tell your constituents.
Would you retract that statement? Okay.
The constituents should contact the principal, and if they're not satisfied, they go to the superintendent, and then after that, we bring it up at a board meeting if something hasn't happened. So there's a follow-up now that we know, there's a procedure we know, we've been on this thing now, so hearsay, what say, please let your constituents call or send an email. And it doesn't even have to be addressed to the school board. It just needs to go to the principal and maybe copy Mr. Brophy and Ms. Torsha.
Are we looking for a report out on this, Mrs. Torsha?
I will put something in the weekly report at the end of the week.
Okay, could we look for something from Scott by the end of the week, and that he's gone through this, and I don't know how long it's gonna take him.
No,
but
we will
something by the
definitely
end of the
address this tomorrow. We will review what is the concerns. Obviously, without knowing what building security concerns there are, which
week.
I will.
I'll email you those.
Yeah, can you
I don't want to talk
email,
about them
and can
publicly.
you also email the maintenance issues you have, so we know? That'll give them a starting place to go with it, so we have those two things. Thanks.
Have our custodians had any concerns there?
What's that?
I would think that they would be front and center on the main line.
Well, I know that they are aware, based upon this information that is being shared this evening, and it's not sounding like it's happening like a horror film. It sounds like there was a situation, and so we will try to get ahead of it.
Okay, Mr. Upderev?
Yes, my comment is back on, as far as Boyertown now having to pay for the busing to the BCTC. I mean, wasn't that brought to a meeting at the BCIU and the BCTC, which those members of the board should have brought that to us to tell us that, because that was done back in August. I was just wondering if the board members were actually there for that meeting and voted on that, and what that would cost us, the difference?
I know, Mr. Updegrove, that it was brought forward to the BCTC board past last year at some point, and then they retracted it. They were going to try to put it into place for this school year. That it has become a burden to their budget. And with the transportation challenges that we all have, it was also putting an additional burden there. So I know that there was a transition in their CFOs, and now it has come forward again. And this time there was a vote taken by the board, the JOC, the Joint Operating Committee, the BCTC board, and it was determined that they were going to push this back to the districts, everyone.
I was just wondering why it took so long to fall on our laps when that was already done in August.
It was brought to our attention in September. It was brought to our attention in September. Do you mean August of 2021?
August is when they voted on that.
Correct.
So why weren't we informed by those people that actually are members there on that board?
So the August meeting, I was present for the August meeting virtually. And the August meeting, I want to say, I'd have to check, but I think it was like August 28th. It was pretty
August
late.
24th.
24th, thank you. It was pretty late into the month, and then it was brought forward here at the next committee meeting. Yes, the committee meeting. So there wasn't a delay. I mean, the bottom line is, if the BCTC is saying they're not going,
BCIU.
well, if the BCTC and the if they're not going to bust the students, I mean, I don't know what
Because you can't be throwing it on them when you guys have originally voted on it.
throwing
Am
it
I right
on
that?
whom?
Was the BCIU in charge of that?
I believe that the Burst Career and Technology Center was contracting with BCIU in some circumstances for some school districts. Every school district had a unique transportation for their Burst Career and Technology Centers. For instance, the Wilson School District has their own transportation, so therefore they would have transported their own students potentially. And I know that part of the problem was that was going to place a burden on a school district like Wilson, who does their own transporting, if they would have had to put that into place for this school year. So I believe they were using the BCIU services for BCTC transportation. We, however, have always had Quigley Bus Company transporting our BCTC students. So we were ready to go anytime because it wasn't going to put any new burden on us at that point.
Okay, but we were paying the BCIU to pay the BCTC. Quigley.
Yes.
Well, that was a lot of money exchanged through the hands.
It was. Taking out the middleman. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we're up to you. Comments? Board comments?
Thanks.
We're back to board comments.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Just a few things. So I attended Cavalcade. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stay to the end, so I didn't get to see the band and the color guard. But what I did see from other schools was really impressive. It's always a great event. So thank you to the Music League. I know that's a ton of hard work. I was really happy to hear about Acts 57 because I do know someone that impacted. and they said that eventually they did get it worked out, but it was a bit complicated. So that's really good to hear. Thank you to Officer French. I don't know if he's still here, and I didn't get to say thank you for all the work he's doing in the high school. Thank you to the students in the Student Spotlight and to Mrs. Moyer. Thank you. It was really great presentation. Thank you to Olivia and Lexi. And Lexi, welcome. Welcome. It's great to see you. And then I just wanted to say that I will be keeping young Brianna and all of her classmates at Washington in my thoughts and in my prayers. And I will be hoping, for the best outcome. And it's incredibly brave what her mother is doing to raise awareness. So that's all for me. Thank you.
So I have a quick question about Brianna. Where is she? What is she in a hospital?
Go ahead, Mrs. Moore. So she is in a hospital this week. What is happening is they are having trouble getting medicines and timing down right with the trial that's happening out of New York. And because of that, she is continuing immunotherapy to keep her in line to participate in the trial. So she is in the hospital this week receiving some immunotherapy treatments, simply in preparation and to keep things in line should the drug trial be approved for her.
Can you let me know which hospital after the meeting if you don't want to say now? I just want to maybe send something.
Assuming we have,
If we're
that's
allowed, I
assuming
don't
we
know.
have consent of the parents.
Right, that's what I said, if you can't. Okay,
So
well,
I need to check
well,
with her mom.
yeah, and just see if we
And I
can.
will gladly do that and share
Sure.
information to
Okay.
Mrs. Sorja.
Sure, thank you. The other thing was, I was glad to hear, Mr. Zawada, I will be in touch with you on questions. I have a question for Mr. Brophy. So I brought it up at a meeting, probably been a month back, about having committees instead of one person representing curriculum, one person representing policy. And I'm not sure how we can request, if you can give me the procedure on how we can request to have discussion about that at another meeting, if you could give me, so if I want to be on a committee, the policy isn't clear, but it says the board members, I shut my computer down, but it's 005. The board members approve the committee members. The board president picks the chairperson for that committee. So don't know if it's by vote. It seems to me it's by vote or a raise of hands or something. I don't know. But I would like to see that coming up on the agenda. And if there's a certain procedure I have to follow.
I don't even believe there is a policy or procedure that actually covers that.
Generally, the board president has the power to appoint committee chairs and appoint committee members. The board has the power to create the committees and to address how the committee structure works. If you want to change that process, that would require a policy revision through board discussion. But essentially, you hold the power in terms of who is both the chair and who are the committee members.
Or how big the committee is.
Right.
I don't read the policy that way, but I will look at it again and we can discuss it, but I'm not reading it. It's very vague, really. It says the board president, I know it says the board president picks the chairperson, but it doesn't say he picks the committee. So could we look at that and maybe just let me know? I mean, I'm not trying to raise a fuss, but I don't feel that a committee is one person. A committee is a group of people for each thing. And I understand the committee of the whole, and I understand we're doing that, but if we're going to do any deep dives into any information that was requested here tonight by a parent, then, we need more time than just the committee of the whole meeting. Maybe not, but can we look at that? Can I ask Mr. Sultanic to look at our policy and let us know what that, or
Okay.
and let me know.
I will let the entire board know.
Absolutely. Let them all know.
Ms. Deeroff?
No, but I do have a question. Why do you always start on that side? Because by the time it gets over here, everybody thanked everybody and complained about everything, and it's all over, so I never have nothing to say.
Well, because I guess I leaned around the left side.
It's deliberate, Mrs. Deeroff.
I know that, but I just wanted to call it to everybody's attention.
Yeah, it's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 12.
I just wanted to call it to everybody's attention that we get left out over here. We're like orphan children.
I will adjust.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to let everybody know because we're on TV.
I'm going to start with Mr. Sultanic next week.
You don't hear my price.
Okay, Mr. Zawad.
Quickly, I want to thank the ladies. Looking forward to the reports that we have this year from you guys. Anything that we can help you with, please let us know. Anything that you hear from the student body, please let us know. Basically, from what I can tell with the busing situation, I think things have totally turned off, and I want to thank Mr. Stout and Mr. Quigley for all their work and hard work getting that done. It's much appreciated. Kristen, thank you for asking the questions that you're asking, and if it can, keep us in the loop. If you've got any direct questions, send it to the board. Okay. Just one thought for board members. I came across a Facebook called No Left Turn, and I would recommend everybody if they would like to take a look at that. It covers some of the stuff we've been talking about tonight. So it just was food for thought. But and as far as the students that are in the Army, God bless. As far as our one student that's in the hospital, prayers there. Prayers for Florida, because they're going to get wiped out in the next 24, 48 hours. And appreciate the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Penrell.
So no one really mentioned anything. I guess maybe some people aren't aware. There was a huge shooting today at a school in Philadelphia. 5 kids were shot.
Roxborough High School.
Yeah, 1 kid died.
Yeah,
So
14-year-old was killed and
outside of a football game.
yeah, it was in a scrimmage. Yeah.
So my prayers and thoughts are with them. Thank Mr. French and Officer Perez and all them for everything they're doing, trying to keep our kids safe. Thank Olivia and Lexi for the report. The spotlight was great. That's about it.
I can answer the question regarding the board committee structure. We operate under current policy as a committee of the whole. So there's no need to appoint committee members since all of you are technically a member on all of the committees. So I don't think it's vague at all. It's, I think, very clear that the policy indicates that we operate as a committee of the whole, which means each one of you are a committee a member. So the only appointment authority, which says here, is for the committee's chair, because everybody else is on the committee, which is what the board president is exercising. So since you're operating as a committee of the whole, all of you are a member of the committee. Now, if you don't like the committee of the whole system, then you have to address Board Policy 005 and talk about an amendment to Board Policy 005 and go back to either no committees or a committee structure with appointed board members. And usually under Robert's rules, the board president or the board chair has the authority to appoint committee members. Did I answer the question? You may not like the answer, but I'm just saying, did I answer?
Well, I think I like you did, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But I guess the committee of the whole meeting, if you have further questions, it's just going to where when you're working in a smaller group and you have your administrative liaison there, you might be able to get everything answered and then you bring it back to the board and present it. That's my understanding from other school districts. They do it that way. We don't have to do what other school districts do, but I'm just saying that was, to
And we have
me, doing
historic-
that deep dive
We have
sometimes
historically
helps.
done everything in this district in terms of committee structures. We've morphed
I
from
could see
individual
that. I
committees.
saw that,
And we've
yes.
gone back and forth, the committees of the
Yes.
whole and the like, to have different iterations of it. And it might be a good, reason to talk about how that works. But obviously, if you don't feel that you're getting an answer in the committee of the whole structure, that should be addressed. It should be addressed with Mr. Brophy, and it should be addressed with the superintendent if you're not getting the information.
Okay.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yeah, I'll just be quick. I had a really good time. It was Saturday that we had the honor to hand out awards at the cavalcade. So thank you, Music League, for allowing us to have that honor. Congratulations to all the bands that participated. It was a great night.
Yeah. Can I speak next, or? Give me a second. Couple things. One is, it was good to see all the kids here tonight. Moving that, I like moving that stuff up to the beginning of the meeting, because I want to get all the positivity we get out of all those people when they come here and tell us all the good things that are going on, especially the report from the school. I like hearing those things early. I like hearing them. I like that. That's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to get. The kids going into, I'm going to call them kids because they still are to me, going into the National Guard. They're about to go for a very, very exciting career, exciting time in their lives. I think it's great. I'm saddened with Brianna. I can only wish her well. There's a lot of things. The music league. We went to the cavalcade of bands, and the only bad thing about it is the best band there wasn't allowed to win. That's the only thing I can say. The best band there performed last, but since they were the host band, and they were definitely the best. That's not a very biased. That's an unbiased opinion, by the way. That the bands there were good. The Boyertown band was excellent. So, and anybody who didn't get to see it, it's a shame you didn't, because you missed a really good show with that. So, I recommend it. The Music League does a lot of work to get that out. There's a lot of work for the kids and the bands to get that out. I think we should be supporting it. There were a lot of people there, but there probably should have been more. So, pretty much for me. Go ahead, Mrs. Nyman.
Motion to adjourn.
No, I want to talk first.
Oh, you have a comment?
Yes. I don't know, Mrs. Torsia and Mrs. Moyer, if there's some type of a fundraiser that we could do to help Brianna, and I think you said other children too? Like you said about wearing pink, we do like pink t-shirts.
As a part of pediatric cancer awareness, we do a fundraiser, and we do make a donation. So whether or not, it was going specifically to an individual, it goes to the group that is supporting those students or those children and their family. So all month, well, it's a gold out. All month, for the month of September, we do acknowledge pediatric cancer awareness, and funds that are raised do go towards those organizations that support the families and children impacted by that. Yeah, you're welcome.
So if anyone knows, I'm not sure, but I think for homecoming, doesn't the band perform the same, like their yearly ensemble or whatever? Yeah, for the homecoming game. At halftime, don't they? I think they do.
I believe that they do as well, either be prior to the game, because they always do give the visiting team the opportunity to perform on the field. And with the event itself, they wouldn't be able to do both things. So I know that it typically does occur prior to or after
Okay.
the game.
That's good to know, because I'll definitely show up early then to see it. So thank you.
Now, can I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, you can, second.
Oh,
No,
never
go
mind.
ahead.
Derek's got a
Go
question.
ahead, I didn't see
That's
that.
okay, you go right
Oh,
ahead.
boy, I'm on her
Start the
list.
meeting.
Okay, I don't have a second yet, Mr. Dart.
Second.
Okay, I have a
I
second?
didn't make my announcement for
Yeah.
upcoming meeting dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Upcoming meeting dates. So we're
October,
not there yet.
oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Xeroff, are you up next? Upcoming meeting dates are October 11th, Committee of the Whole, which will be held at Colbrookdale Elementary School, and October 25th, which brings us back here. And there was $1,173 that were collected at the game on the Gold Out, which was called the Miracle Minute. How much again? $1,173 during 1 minute that they raised money
When was that the game?
at the Gold Out game in September. Yes.
With that, oh, go ahead, Mrs. Zero.
What I wanted to say is the Pediatric Cancer Research will accept any donations anytime. Anybody can do a fundraiser. I don't know particulars with the family, but that would be a good idea if anybody wants to do a fundraiser. I'm sure it would be appreciated.
We're gonna try this again. Motion to adjourn.
First, second.
Wait, do we have a second?
I'm not saying a word.
Mr. Conrell, okay. Meeting adjourned.